Three quarterbacks from 2021. Are they the answer? I saw Malik Willis. What did I think? And rookie showcase fill in a blank, all on Locked On NFL Draft. Let's go.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. It's Locked On NFL Draft with me, John Harris, football analyst, sideline reporter for the Houston Texans, and owner-operator of Football Takeover, with the two best friends any new guy could have. That's former NFL, AFL defensive back Eric Crocker. You see him raising the roof somewhere mysterious. We won't give away his location. He might be in a cave somewhere, some hovel somewhere. That's my man, Ryan Tracy, wearing a ball cap down below from Rogue Analytics. You can follow him on Twitter at Ryan Tracy NFL, at Eric_Crocker on NFL. I am at J Harris Football. And we appreciate you making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And tonight's episode of Locked On NFL Draft is presented by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 of promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On. Gentlemen, I thought about this. I've thought about this for a while, but I really thought about it yesterday because two of the gentlemen I'm about to bring up were facing one another in a game on Sunday. And the other one I have seen up close now 3 times. And he was unfortunately taking another L. Well, fortunately for me in the AFC South, he was taking an L in London against the Denver Broncos. 3 quarterbacks: Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trey Lance will leave out of this because he is injured and his status is way up in the air. Don't know. And we'll leave, who am I missing out here? Justin Fields. We'll leave him to the side because Justin Fields has started to show some progress with what he's doing. So I ask you this question, and Eric, we'll start with you. Those teams, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Jaguars. I can't see the Jaguars doing it. He was number 1 overall. Zach Wilson was 2 overall. Mac Jones was 15. Do you see any of those 3 teams deciding we're done, cut bait, 2023, we got to draft a quarterback in the first round?
The Patriots aren't a group to really overreact to any scenario. They kind of wait, they're patient, see what comes to them. As it pertains to them and their quarterback situation, I'm pretty sure they like Zappe, and they probably like Mac Jones. But Mac Jones, a lot of people worried about the ceiling of him. How much better could he get? And it kind of is what he is coming into the NFL. And I thought if he did improve, it would have to be from here, not so much from someone whose physical traits are going to take over. And I think right now they're running into that issue because the mental aspect of things, I don't know if the game is moving a little too fast for him, but he has been a turnover machine. The big-time upside plays aren't there. So if he kind of is what he is, that is a team that could potentially, I don't know about first round, but eventually just draft a quarterback to try to figure out what are they going to do. But maybe, again, they might like Zappe. I don't know how much better Zappe is than Mac Jones or how much better he can be. But if there's a scenario where maybe they can move on from Mac Jones and recoup some draft capital, I don't even know if that's an option. But right now, I think the Mac Jones, I don't want to call him experience, but what he is, we might be seeing the ceiling of that.
Ryan, from that point, what about Zach Wilson? Because I'm with Eric. I think the Patriots go about their business very methodically. And some years when you don't think they'll look at quarterback, they do. And then sometimes when vice versa. However I said that. But point being with Zach Wilson is, have you seen any improvement to make you feel like the Jets should be going with Zach Wilson for the foreseeable future? Or do you think with all the talent the Jets are now accumulating, that maybe it makes sense for the Jets to look at another rookie quarterback to replace Zach Wilson going forward? What are your thoughts about the Jets and the Wilson situation?
First, the Patriots, I don't think they can do it early because I agree with what Eric said, but I will say this. You might see Belichick do this thing where he's constantly searching day 3 for a guy he thinks he can elevate. So I could see them doing something later in the draft. For the Jets, I think it really depends what happens next. Because of the injury early in the season, I don't feel like Wilson's been able to have the runway that he had going forward. So maybe they give him a little bit more rope. But if you get another quarter of the way through the season and you're not seeing some turnaround and you're staring, I don't know, if you have a top 10 pick, I think in this class, you have to take a chance on it. And the bottom line, you end up in a competition situation where you feel that you can push Zach Wilson. If he wins, great. And if you've drafted his replacement and he wins out, great. Either way, you have to protect the franchise because of everything else that you've done. The defense is coming around. You should have Breece Hall back. If he can come back even at 90% of what he was, you feel like you have now a balanced offense that can do something in this league if you have competent quarterback play.
Is it a slam dunk that Trevor Lawrence is absolutely, without question, secure because he was the number one overall pick? Ryan, is he that guy?
Absolutely. I thought it would click with Doug Peterson quicker than this, but there's no way you can go away from him yet. There's too much there, and you put too much into it. I do think he will get around to it eventually. Maybe it just has to be year 2 in this system.
Eric, your thoughts? Trevor Lawrence, yes or no?
Yes, I think Trevor Lawrence, no matter what, he's going to have the longest leash of any of these guys. He's the guy that was pegged as a generational talent. They're going to give him every opportunity to continue to grow. And I think Doug Peterson might be the guy that eventually will change around the way that he's been viewed really since taking over in Jacksonville.
He's got to quit throwing red zone interceptions. I saw one, the game we covered in Jacksonville. He threw one. I mean, Justin Simmons made a heck of a play, don't get me wrong, but you can't be throwing interceptions on 1st and goal. He threw the one against us. It was 2nd and 1 inside the 7. So he's got to start showing that progress. I know that there's a little bit of the worm turning in Jacksonville. There are a lot of media members there starting to question whether he is the guy. I think he is the guy. I think the one that makes me probably maybe on the hottest seat, if you will, is Zach Wilson. You just haven't seen really anything from Zach Wilson to make you think, oh, there it is. That's what I've been looking for. I don't think you've seen that from Zach. So the Jets, with all this talent that they have now accumulated, that might be a team that investigates quarterback. Maybe it's not a drafted quarterback. Maybe they look at a free agent. Maybe, I don't know, somehow they find some money in their couch cushions to go pay for Lamar Jackson. I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. That's going to be very interesting. But down the road, I think Zach Wilson could be a guy, if he doesn't show improvement over this last 9-10 games that they've got, that they're going to have to start asking themselves some hard questions about this 2023 NFL draft. Now, I got the opportunity to see a rookie yesterday. I'll give you my thoughts on that rookie and get our guys' thoughts on that next. But I want to talk about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. And I know a lot of you out there are playing fantasy. You play the traditional fantasy. You got your PPR leagues. You got all this kind of stuff. But sometimes, and this was the case for me, sometimes I wasn't dialed in every single week. But then there were some weekends where I'm like, man, I want to play. I want to do more than just my fantasy team. Well, that's what Prize Picks allows you to do. You pick up to 2 to 5 players in any sport that you want. It could be college basketball. It could be soccer, esports. I don't know if you know Ninja and esports. I mean, maybe you pick that person. I don't know. You go NASCAR, tennis, but mainly NFL for us and college football. Those are 2 sports. All you got to do is pick 2 to 5 players, and if they go score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. It's that simple. Safe and fast withdrawals. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It really is that easy, and it's currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. So download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. You deposit $50, you'll get $50. You deposit $100, you'll get $100. So don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON at sign-up for an instant deposit match up to $100. That's promo code LOCKEDON. It's Prize Picks. I'd like to thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. All right, gentlemen, I was fortunate or unfortunate to see the debut of one Malik Willis of the Tennessee Titans on Sunday in Houston. Now, he threw the ball 10 times, 9 of them in the first half. He threw once in the second half. Once. Large part of that was because Derrick Henry ran for over 200 yards again, the fourth time he has done that. in his career against the Houston Texans. I'm getting tired of seeing Derrick Henry run for 200 yards against us. However, Malik Willis was a massive talking point last year in the draft process. I know we talked about it because the quarterbacks were seemingly all wild cards. We didn't know if anybody was going to the first round. Then we thought maybe 2 or 3 were going to the first round. Man, the world was split on Malik Willis. Now, I'm not one to judge after one game, but I think because of the question marks that Willis had going in, I was a little skeptical as to how he would perform. The first throw that he had down the field got picked off. Really, the only throws that he made that I don't even want to say were of NFL quality. He missed Chigo Okonkwo, the rookie tight end from Maryland, on corner route, was wide open off play action. He's wide open, but he was late to recognize it, then overthrew him, and threw one time in the second half because Henry was going off, but also because I don't know how much confidence they had in Malik Willis. The guy I saw yesterday is still a third-round project. Still a project. But he got his first NFL reps. Ryan, I know we talked about Malik Willis, and he was a really difficult prospect to gauge because you could see so many of the things you liked. But, man, some of the simple things, footwork, making the right type of throw each and every time, knowing when to get rid of the football, those are all things we knew he struggled with. Those all really were an issue on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. Taking all that information in, Ryan, your thoughts about Malik Willis, and do you think he ever could be the guy in Tennessee at that point?
I don't think anything is set in stone at this point. I think he definitely could still be the guy. At the end of the day, you're competing with Ryan Tannehill, who can see the end of the road from here. So pick up what you can in terms of knowledge and visual acuity. I think that's what it comes down to. I will also say this too. I was pretty low on him comparatively because I didn't see enough of what he was doing. I think we fell in love. I think we as an evaluation community fell in love with the fact he could throw a ball in the rain in Alabama.
Yeah.
That he can use his legs, and those wheels will get him out of trouble in more times than we care to admit. And I think we take a step back and we forget the fact that he's playing in a team that isn't really setting up the most complicated West Coast offense. This is a run, play defense, hit the play action, do your job, get the ball out. And I think that kind of projection got a little bit ahead of itself. Can he still come around? I absolutely think so. And I'm a little disappointed, honestly, that they didn't go back to some of those tools that we all fell in love with when we were evaluating him. I thought if they had put in some RPOs, if they had just put in some naked boots and let him run, I think he could have sparked something that maybe led to a bigger outcome.
Crocky, thoughts. Willis, can he be a starter?
I think he can eventually, but you're going to have to take the approach of the Philadelphia Eagles and what they did with Jalen Hurts. I thought Jalen Hurts was a running back coming out of college, especially when he was at Alabama. And we saw him kind of get a little bit better as a passer heading over to Oklahoma. But when you look at what he did as a rookie, the passing numbers weren't quite there. It wasn't this explosive passer, especially the guy that we see today. So I do think that you build an offense around his abilities, getting him on the move, like Ryan said, incorporating the legs a little bit more than what they did yesterday. And then eventually you might see a little bit more efficiency as a passer, and that's going to be a year-to-year type thing. He has all the ability. He has the arm. He has the mobility, the athleticism. I think with Jalen Hurts, the thing was he ended up here in the mental aspect of just the hard work and what he had to put in there to become a great quarterback. And I talked to one of his quarterback trainers, I got Quincy Avery, and Avery said there are two guys that he said has been the best, like just people that he's been around, Trey Lance and Jalen Hurts. So when you have that type of mindset, then, yeah, you get better and better because you put that work in. Will we see Malik Willis take that step from a mental approach? And if so, then he can eventually be a good starting quarterback, but it might take a year or so.
Yeah, I think you hit it right in the head. I think taking a year, giving some time. I mean, getting some snaps. You know, he was under center a lot on Sunday, which is not something that he's completely and totally accustomed to. So all those things take time, you know, cadence and just making sure you've got the line where you want them and reading particular things. The one thing that I thought, man, that's got to get better was his recognition. He had one throw in particular. They ran play action, and our linebackers just bit, which not surprising. he's got the dig route. I mean, that's a route he can throw yesterday with sauce, and he didn't throw it. And I don't know if it was he just wasn't comfortable. I don't know if he didn't see it, but it's a throw, and it looked like he was looking at it. He just didn't have the confidence to just let it go. So there's got to be a little bit more kind of let him hang, if you will, for Malik Willis. I do think that there's something there, even in I don't want to say a rough outing, but just even in an outing where he didn't have to do a whole heck of a lot. I think there's more there. And I think given some time, I think Jalen Hurts is a great comparison because I think that's a guy that Tennessee could look at down the road and say, hey, this is what Nick Sirianni did with Jalen Hurts. If we're going to go with Willis, we can tailor this thing around him and Henry and be very, very, very dangerous. I could see that team with a higher ceiling with Malik Willis in the future than even Ryan Tannehill right now. I will give props to one rookie for the Titans. I thought Nicholas Petit-Frere, who I was kind of down on as I went through the draft cycle, he's going to be a player for the Titans. I thought he played very, very well at right tackle, the rookie out of Ohio State. So that was definitely one rookie that showed it off on Sunday because our rookies, 8 of them, we had 8 starting rookies on Sunday, played okay. Overall as a team didn't. But Malik Willis, I think, has got a lot of growth. There's no doubt. Now, we get back. It's Rookie Showcase fill in the blank. It's kind of a little pop quiz, but it's a personal opinion pop quiz. So you can't be wrong. You just have to, back up your claim. That's next on Locked On NFL Draft. But I want to talk about betonline.net. It's your number one source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. To me, this is the greatest sports time of the year. It's the intersection of my Astros in the World Series, NBA basketball, NFL football, college football, all in one, all at the same time. So if you don't want to bet one, you can bet the other. If you want to bet them all, you're a savage, go for it. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, in-depth analysis, and every game right there at BetOnline. BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport imaginable. MLB, talked about playoffs, MMA, boxing, golf. They've got everything. Head to the website today or use your mobile device, which we all do, to learn more about BetOnline. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, boys, Rookie Showcase fill in the blank is very, very easy. I read you a sentence, you fill in the blank. Ryan Tracy, you start. The offensive rookie of the year to date is and why?
It's unfortunately because I would go with Breece Hall because not only what he produced on the field, but how he turned and gave hope to that organization.
Good one.
Now with the injury, that's a tough one. But right now, as of what we've seen to this point, I'm still going to stay with him. I'll give him props. He's going to fade as we go through the rest of the season. But for right now, I'll go with Breece Hall.
All right, Breece Hall, obviously going to miss the rest of the year dealing with the ACL. I don't mind it because I think he's probably been the best offensive rookie through 8 games, potentially. We'll see what Eric Crocker has to say. Eric Crocker, the offensive rookie of the year to date in the NFL is and why?
It's hard to say to date because this guy had an explosive game yesterday in the absence of Breece Hall, but Garrett Wilson starting to come on. And if he can have a string together a couple more of these 100-plus yard games, explosive performance, it can be either him or Chris Olave over in New Orleans. I think both of those receivers have that explosibility. Quarterback trying to push the ball down the field. We'll see what continues to happen with Zach Wilson. But I do think that Chris Olave is in a great situation for him to continue to get targets and really take that next step and potentially be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Or, and I'm going to throw another guy in there, you got Kenneth Walker for the Seattle Seahawks. If the Seattle Seahawks continue to lead the NFC West, that's a guy that could potentially take that next step as well.
I like it. I like all the options. You know how I'm going to lean on this one. The Offensive Rookie of the Year today is my man Dameon Pierce. Not the greatest game against the Titans, but I got to ride with my man DP31. If I didn't show any bias, I like the Kenneth Walker selection. I think Kenneth Walker has been fantastic. I think he has given that Seahawks offense something they probably didn't even know they needed because Geno was lighting it up. And all of a sudden, Walker comes back in after being hurt, and it's like, whoa, they've got run past balance. They've got this guy hammering. I know Pete Carroll was talking about it after the press conference, and I looked at Pete. He took so much grief for the Russell Wilson trade. And what are they going to do? I mean, look what the Seahawks are doing at 5-3. So I think Kenneth Walker is definitely in that mix. All right, Eric Crocker, you go first. the defensive rookie of the year to date is and why?
Oh man, this is a tough one because there's two cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner and Tariq Woolen, who I think come to mind right away. And I'm actually going to go with Sauce Gardner, but only because I think that he just gets more love from the national media. I think if there was some kind of campaign for Tariq Woolen, his 4 interceptions right now, I think he would be the guy at the top. Especially, I think, again, what Seattle's doing right now, it's kind of flying under the radar, but they continue to string together these wins. Maybe some of the younger guys start to get a little bit more love nationally.
Ryan Tracy, agree with Eric Crocker or no? The defensive rookie of the year to date is and why?
Sorta. I agree it's Sauce because it's Sauce. I mean, 8.9 yards of reception, right? Under 43% completion percentage. I mean, but I'll disagree on the other half of it. I'd say Jack Jones for very similar reasons. Low completion percentage. He's also not giving up a ton of yards. Like, I think as good as Woolen's been taking it away, he does give up more passes and give up more yards. So I'll say Jack Jones.
Yeah, I think Sauce has been really, really good. I'll say in Houston, it's been tough because the run defense has been so bad. Derek Stingley really hasn't been tested. I think Sting has made a lot of progress in the half year that he's played, and hopefully continues to stay healthy and play that year. But I think Sauce has been excellent. I think the guys you brought up, Jack Jones, I'm glad you brought that up, Ryan, because I think Jack flew under the radar, sort of like Tariq Woolen. Those two guys being day 3 picks ended up being tremendous players for their respective teams. I would go Sauce, but I think Tariq and Jack definitely nipping at their heels. Okay, Ryan, we'll go to you for this one. My team, your team being the Chiefs, drafted fill in the blank. I wish they would have drafted fill in the blank.
I've been thinking about this scenario, and in general, I'm fairly happy with what you get, given they were picking. This is a team that picked at 21 and 30. So let's be honest about what was available.
Sure.
They took George Karlaftis because he fits the scheme, power defensive end. But if you switch their first and second round picks, which was 62, you could have stayed in the same positions and ended up with Jaquan Brisker and Drake Jackson rather than Karlaftis and Brian Cook. And I'm a big Cook guy, but I'm saying Brisker, I had too low. I'm admitting it right now. He should have been right up there at the top. I thought 48. Hey, that's about value, but I probably would switch those.
Eric Crocker, fill in the blank. My team drafted blank. I wish they had drafted blank.
My team drafted Ty Davis Price at running back late in the 3rd round, and I wish they would have taken Nick Cross, safety, that ended up going to Indianapolis Colts. Now, again, I'm not saying that Cross has been lights out, but I just think for the value of the pick, I would have liked a safety, high upside, high ability. And I saw the flashes in preseason. If you can continue to kind of improve from there, we're talking about somebody that has big-time playability and starting at a more premier position in the secondary, especially with the way that the NFL is going now with 2 high safety, single high, and guys that can do a lot more. I think Nick Cross has that type of ability as opposed to a running back who is cool, but unless you're banking on him being the guy, I think you kind of reach a little bit for that running back in the 3rd round.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Eric, you go first on this one. My team drafted blank, and I'm thankful that they did.
Drake Jackson, defensive end out of USC. He's kind of a tweener that used him in different ways at USC, different defensive schemes, but he's been terrific. Last time I checked, he was top of the league with rookie sacks with 3. He was tied with Aiden Hutchinson with like less than half the amount of snaps that Aiden Hutchinson had. And I think that Drake Jackson, the upside is there as he continues to grow into his body, understand how he has to prepare and develop more pass rush moves. But really like what we've gotten from Drake Jackson and being able to get that type of physical specimen at the defensive end position, a premier position at pick 61. I think that was really great value for the 49ers.
Ryan Tracy, my team drafted blank, and I'm glad they did.
Jalen Watson, 7th round corner from Wazoo. When you take a number 21 and trade up to get Trent McDuffie and he gets hurt game 1, it's smart, and it worked really, really well to have another long, tall, aggressive corner that can actually play press man. Some you don't see in Kansas City all the time, but I am thankful they have Jalen Watson.
I'll tell you this quick story. Day 3 of the draft, Texans had the 2nd and 3rd picks of the day. And we have been talking about Isaiah Spiller because Isaiah Spiller is from Houston, and he was still on the board. And we've been talking about Isaiah Spiller. And I forgot that Dameon Pierce was still on the board. And so we had gotten kind of some rumblings that, hey, they're going to draft a running back. Like, oh, okay, here comes Spiller. And then they drafted Dameon Pierce. Now, I was from Jump Street, I was excited about Dameon Pierce. He's been even better than anybody could have expected here in Houston. So that's my fill in the blank on that one for sure. Gentlemen, great job. Great show as always. Now, we want to thank you, our listeners, our watchers, for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. We got more stuff coming for you this week. We got our Friday night draft. You're going to love that one. We'll break down Tennessee and Georgia in full. This is going to be a great week to have that done. That's coming up this week on Locked On NFL Draft. For Eric, for Ryan, I'm John. We'll see you next time. And as always, let's go.